What do you think about what's happening to the town? Do you think about, does it, well, you've been coming here as long as I have, or maybe shortly longer than I have, which is a long time.
I think it's the same.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, times have changed. Yes, is there any movement now like hippies that it was when we were first here? No. Is there packs of young people downtown? My favorite is the young people will only sit. I love the little tiny things you notice here. The benches. Young people would never sit on benches. They sit only a little bit back there on the little monument that goes in.
Right.
They would be caught dead,
Well,
but
no,
they
no,
only
actually.
sit there. I love that. The subtle little differences of where you could sit in this town. But when we came here, that was the meat rack.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Do you remember the year they removed the benches?
Oh yeah, that was as if really they cut down the monument.
They removed the benches, and then they realized that all their aunts and uncles and mothers sat on them in the daytime.
And
the
meat
benches
rack at
suddenly
night,
reappeared.
by day bread basket.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, it was like they had emergency town meetings. It was hilarious. And the only other thing I miss about what it used to be like, I wish there was a cool mix bar. There isn't anymore.
Yeah, there isn't anymore.
And it used to be at the beginning of the summer. The A house in the back room, no one knew. One was straight, one was gay. You didn't know till the first week.
Yeah.
And it would change every summer.
Change
It was
all
really
the time.
exciting. Which will it be? And I like both.
Right.
And then Piggy's, that was
Piggy's
the
happened.
coolest bar, to me in my 40 years ever that I was here, that was the coolest.
That was the coolest
Gay,
bar.
straight, 50% mixed, you couldn't tell who was what. That was the best fun. And everybody had sex going home in the graveyard. It was a lovely evening.
That's true.
Now, those days, I mean, there are no mixed bars. I'm against all separatism. I believe it's defeat.
I agree with you.
So I don't go to all gay places, all straight places. I mean, well, I go to all the straight places here because it's like being a white girl, and no, it's like being a little black girl in Mississippi in 1964, and in a unintegrated, unintegrated school. I mean, when you walk in the VFW, it is like, you feel like that little black girl on the cover of Saturday Evening Post in the crinoline where people were like throwing tomatoes at her. No, they didn't do that to me in there. I'm not saying that. But just the most unlikely place to go is what I'm always looking for. I miss the carnival doesn't come in anymore because the workers were cute. That's scary. I love the scary workers of the carnival. One had never mind. What else do I miss from the old days? But I like it to me. I don't mind. I loved it when there was a lesbian ship in town. People saying 2,000 lesbians are coming. Bring them on! When the circuit queens are here, I think it's hilarious. I'm not a part of it, but I watch it amazed. You know how departmentalized everyone's become and what they are.
That part about town has changed since when I first came here. There wasn't a whole lot of compartmentalization going on in those days.
It was everybody hung around together, and you were a bohemian. That was the thing that came first.
Yeah.
But that's long gone. That's okay. I always think what's going to be tomorrow is more exciting than yesterday, to me. Because I know what was yesterday, I don't know what's going to be
That's
tomorrow.
right, exactly.
But I have no problem with the change. It was always expensive here. I remember that every penny you made, you paid your rent in the summer. It didn't matter. Yes, it costs more now, but you make more now. It was always expensive here. It was always hard to find a place to live for the summer and work here. I don't think that's different.
No.
What's different is I never stayed here all winter because I'm too much of a speed freak lunatic that has to be involved in a million things. To stay here. Isolation is never something I've been seeking. But at the same time, now, and the people did stay here in the winter, but now there's nowhere to live because everybody has condos and they just come on, which I'll do too. I mean, so I think it's harder to live here year round. That community is different.
Drying out.
Yeah. I think that's harder, but I was never part of that community. So is it different? I don't know. I mean, the parts that are different, these new I mean, to me, when I drive by where the Moors was, I fight.
Oh yeah.
Thinking it's an architectural crime. What's there? But who am I to say? I didn't go to the Moors. It was my fault for not supporting the restaurant.
Yeah. It was a great place,
Yeah, but I didn't go
it was
at the last 10 years.
Mostly tourist place.
You know what I mean? And I should have gone, and maybe those ugly houses wouldn't be there, because I lived in a tree there when I first came to Provincetown. So it's hard for me to like a condos there when I lived in a tree fort there. However, those people have a right to live there. They think it's beautiful. They probably think this is a dump. Anne Frank's attic.
Do you have any pictures of Prescott's?
No one does, except I met a kid in town that grew up there. Remember the integrated couple that lived with us? That kid. One of them died. I think the mother died or the father. I'm not sure which.
Really?
But
I didn't know that.
And he said he remembers. Mink was their babysitter. And I read to one of the children last summer, and they're adults now, they're not children, but they remember. And I said I wanted to get together with a parent. I went, do you have pictures? And I don't think, no one had cameras then. We were potheads.
Unfortunately.
No one had cameras. We lived in a tree fort, for Christ's sake.
But now, what I wouldn't give to have a picture of that place now.
I know. I wish there was a picture. There is a book called New England Eccentrics or something that has a chapter about Prescott, who owned it, who was one of the first gay liberation people in Boston.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Prescott Townsend's place. So if anybody has a picture of that place, I'd love to see it.
I lived in it with Mink Stoll.
I lived in it there
in
too.
'67, I think. You lived in it in '66,
yeah,
I remember.
I lived there with Alan Dahl.
Flo Ann and Alan Dahl?
Flo Ann and Seek.
Oh yeah, that downstairs apartment with the appliance. Do you remember the appliance?
The Mighty Mo heater. That when it poured rain, it just rained in your apartment, but it would dry it out in a
second. Out in 5 minutes, gone.
And you got free hot dogs if you lived there. Cold hot dogs. You just ate raw hot dogs. And he'd come in, Prescott, and his pants would just fall. Mink was going to marry him, remember? She was engaged to him. He was 80. She was 17 years old.
She had a ring, everything.
The hot dogs she was going to inherit, I guess.
Yeah.
But, so those things have changed. But, I bet kids today that come here that are 17 have a wild, crazy summer that it's really memorable to them, that they're going to be talking about in 40 years, too. I really believe they do. It's a different wildness, a different thing. You can see the wild kids in town. You can see who they are. They're having a great time.
Yeah.
They're having fun.
Sure.
They're doing the same things we did. Probably not as illegal.
Yeah, you might have.
I have another friend that's still here that I always see that we stole bikes together. I won't name her. She's owns a very successful restaurant she's involved in. I still see her and we joke maybe one night, let's go steal a bike.